As you can see, there are some people coming back up here. They're somewhat escorted. I'm going to find out how they're getting up here, the easiest ways, so everybody else knows too. But these are probably people. I can see the way they're looking around. This is the first time they've been up here. They're just now rolling into Magalia, and apparently they must live here. I know there's a lot of people in a lot of different zones in Paradise that's being escorted into. Yeah, I can see by the looks on their face, they're just looking around, shaking their head. And this is probably the better part. We're just going up Skyway right now through Paradise, just letting you see what it's like here at night. All the workers are getting off. It's like a little after 5. It's pitch black. Looks a little eerie, strange, and looks like we're starting to get a little bit of electric, unless they're on a generator over here. This is Paradise at night.
Elliott Street.
Elliott and Skyway right now. I think we're passing the Veterans Place where they have electrical on it. I bet you they have a generator there, because I don't see anything else on it. Well, the street lights are on though, starting right about here. So maybe they have the electric to this point, because before we didn't have blinking red lights or anything. This is just to give you an idea of the disaster that's up here. This is coming down from Magalia, going into Upper Paradise, and like I say, this is actually one of the better parts, believe it or not. And they're just trying to make it passable right now, and let everybody start coming in slowly, I guess. And like I say, this is Rahasia with the LotusGuide magazine. Doing my best to give people an idea, because I tell you, it's little by little, it's better to realize what's going on up here, because if it hits you all at once, like it did my wife and I, we just, we couldn't even believe it. There's a part of my mind that still doesn't believe it. And if there's anybody out there watching this that has any pull or any connections with finding out where's all this wood going, it shouldn't be going to a some wood business, firewood business or something. It should be going to the people that's left up here that need firewood, because the financial level up here is going to really be tough. And if this wood belongs to anybody, it belongs to the people that's up here that still have someplace, a roof over their head. Okay, I'm going to, I just made a right off of Skyway onto the old Skyway, and just going to take a drive up to here and give you an idea of what everyone's looking at. This is going up Old Skyway, and it's just now been passable. You can't even get up here, and like I say, there's a lot of wood up here. Needs to be thought about, because the practicality of staying warm up here in Magalia and Paradise is a big deal. And I'm not too sure if people's going to be able to afford PG&E's electric bills, because I just paid a $420 electric bill, and that seems a little bit high. Like I say, we're coming up to Magalia Cemetery. Somebody asked me about Magalia Cemetery, and cemetery looks fine. If there is, I never thought I'd be saying that statement. The cemetery looks fine. Look over here. And this is the other side, and Cell towers are still here. I know that probably really turns a lot of you on. Um, Little community church still here, amazingly. Of course, it was made out of wood, so of course it made it. Here's the other side of the street with a state of Jefferson flag. And for those of you who are watching this and these are your homes that are still here, here's the Magalia Pet Hospital. I am so happy for you. Skyway Memorial Park, looks like it's still here. Just passing Indian Drive. And it doesn't look good down through there, folks. Thomas Lee General Dentistry. Now, over here is across the street, and a lot of cars, and can't even see what was used to be there, to be honest with you. Looks like some kind of a garage. Yep. This is going to be a long road to recovery, everyone. This is going to be a long road. But recovery, you know, like the Chinese symbol, two symbols for crisis. Probably most of you know this, but the first symbol is for danger, and that's pretty obvious. Most crises have a danger element to it. But the other symbol is for change, opportunity for change. And I think that that's what we have to start looking at right now as we rebuild, we recover. Seems like Butte County is really stepping up and doing all they can. And here's just to give you an idea of some of the equipment that's up here. I know we come up here sometimes of an evening at around 6 o'clock, and it's massive. So all kinds of work trucks coming back and everything. I'm probably going to have to check in here. Yep, thank you. That's it's good that I have this press pass because it's allowed us access. They just want us to be careful, and for good reason. It's pretty tough. Okay, I think you've seen all this part, so I'm going to head on down to... I couldn't even go down Skyway. It's completely closed right now because they're doing a lot of debris removal. So I'm going to go down Clark right now. And, you know, since I'm sitting here and have the opportunity to talk a little bit without getting boring, I have to tell you, those of you who know me, you know that I'm all for a good conspiracy story, and they're fun, most of them, until you start living through the conspiracy, and then it's not as fun. So a lot of this right now is a wake-up call to all of us that we need to be proactive, because believe me, if you wait until you're becoming reactive, well, this is a good example. You just run like hell because it's way too late, way too little, and not near enough to make a difference. You just have to get out of the way. And we're going to have to see where this goes. Once my radio show is up, I'm going to be interviewing a lot of people and finding out a little bit more about what's happening with all of this. I've interviewed, if you go to bbsradio.com/spiritual activist, you'll see that I've interviewed ex-CIA agents, analysts, climate scientists, UFO investigators, government conspiracy people, And these are people that's really done a lot to research this stuff and make sure it's true, because herein lies the problem. And some of it is just overzealous conspiracy theorists wanting to believe anything and putting it out there like they've checked it out. Then it gets picked up by 4 or 5 other people that don't realize it's not checked out, and pretty soon everybody believes some weird theory. But there are some really good investigators. Jim Mars was really a good one. He passed away. Um, Dolan, he's another good one. Um, Griffith, he's another good one. And on the next LotusGuide, I'm going to write an article, and I'm going to put down some selected readings. Like there's this one book, You Know Something's Wrong When. It's written by Judge Ann, I can never pronounce her last name. But it puts down exactly what happened with the Federal Reserve and how it was created actually illegally. Our whole banking system is a Ponzi scheme. I mean, let's face it. It's just that it's so big and so all-encompassing. But now it's starting to show signs of collapsing, because for any Ponzi scheme, you have to keep getting new people involved in it at the bottom. And the millennials, they're not going for this. You know, the millennials are not investing in the future because they have none. They're not going to have Social Security. That's been gone a long time ago. I feel lucky to have what little bit I have. So watch out for the next LotusGuide. It'll be out the middle of January. I'm going to write a really good article and give all you people that really don't know about a lot of these things a chance to do your own research. Because I could sit here and tell you about everything that I know and everything I suspect, and keep those categories separate too, by the way. But there's nothing like doing your own research, and it's empowering too. We all have to be proactive in finding out what's going on in our world. Over here, this is going down Clark, like I say, and all of these side roads are just too much. Here's another little thought too. It's a quote, I think it's anonymous, but having anger towards somebody is like taking poison and expecting them to die. And I think we have to remember that, especially with PG&E right now, because if you're up here and seeing what I'm seeing, you would see that these are just people up here doing a job. And this is the other side of Clark as I'm going down, just to give you an idea of all of the work that's going in up here. Once again, if these are your homes that are still up, I am so happy for you. So happy. There's equipment up here that I've never even seen before. And here's another dot. You know, like I say, you have to really reserve judgment for all this, but I know my wife and I, we were coming up Skyway a couple of months before the fire, and we were thinking, wow, why does PG&E have such a big, huge base camp? And all of this equipment, brand new equipment too, by the way, a lot of it just brand new. I mean, it just makes you wonder if one of these dots were the only dot, it would just be maybe a coincidence. But there are too many dots, and when you start connecting them, it looks a little suspicious, I grant you. But once again, we need to remember that right now people need help. This is the time where we comfort the afflicted. Later on, it's when we afflict the comfortable. Just passing Pheasant Ridge Estates. And there's a lot of wood up here, folks. You know, somebody out there get on this and figure out where this wood is going, because there's a lot of elderly people up here and young people now that really needs a lot of help. So check that out. We're all in this together. I tell people, say there's no justice in the world. I say there is some justice. We just have to learn how to spell it. It's just us. Again, we're going down Clark, leaving Magalia into Upper Paradise, and we're passing Kimberly Lane right now. And as you can see, there's a lot of wood up here. We need to check this out. And to all of you out there that's leaving comments, I really appreciate the comments, because it gives me an idea of what I need to do, what I need not to do. One guy left a comment that he's sounded upset because I was holding my camera vertically, and I think it was just for one shot. And everybody started leaving him comments. Hey, dude, back off this guy. He's out here trying to bring us video, and he's in the rain and the cold, and it's unpleasant. It's emotionally draining, and you're worried about how he's holding the camera. That's a sign of our society. We get caught up in the details and the messenger sometimes. And we need to remember that. I'm just letting this play a little bit. I know it might be a little bit boring, but it's to give you an idea of what's going on up here. I mean, there's so much construction. Here's the other side of Clark. Not too sure what that building was. And we're passing Forest Service right now. And the other side of the street, you can't see it, but it's okay. There's nothing much to see. Passing Cypress Meadows, Cypress Lane. And as far as I can see, there's nothing to see. This is the other side of Clark, just past Cypress Lane. And as you can see, look at all this wood. I mean, this is like thousands of cords of wood that would really help subsidize some of the people that have a home and a wood burner still left. And it's not right if it's going to some company that's going to split it all up and sell our own wood back to us. This is we need to stop saying this is the way the world works. It's not the way the world works. It's the way we let the world work. And here's okay, hang on. I'm going to be showing you another one of those dots. And once again, if that was the only thing, we'd say, okay, well, that's interesting. There's too many dots. It's the trash cans. These are trash cans that are still standing, and they're by homes. I've noticed they're by homes that have completely burned to the ground, and they're like 2 feet away from the house. How does that happen without even distorting them? It doesn't make sense. Matter of fact, there's been some jokes going around, people saying, well, in the next fire I'm going to jump in a trash can. And I wouldn't suggest that, but there's an element of truth to it, because the plastic trash cans seems to have come through this fairly good. I know we had a plastic stand in front of Ray's Liquor down there. They piled a bunch of garbage on it, destroyed it, but Ray's Liquor is completely burned to the ground except for one wall, and our stand was fine until they dumped debris on it. But I would imagine they have better things to think about than my magazine stand. But this is just another one of those dots, and I tell you, when you connect all the dots, it does get a little strange. And I think one of the things to think about with all of this that's going on, especially information like this, it's a little bit like if I was to show you a picture and it's a tangled mess of bushes and trees, and it just doesn't make any sense. It's completely chaotic. But if I tell you that there's a donkey and a cart embedded into the picture, you could look and look and look, and you would never see the donkey in the cart until I pointed it out. Then once it's pointed out, it jumps out at you, and you realize the whole picture was actually made to conceal the donkey and the cart. Well, this is a little bit about what's happened in my life with what's going on with everything, the government and politics and everything. Once you see the donkey and the cart, the corrupted leaders and everything, they jump out at you, and you can't help but see it. Where other people are just seeing a tangled mess of confusion and chaos, you're actually seeing that there is a donkey and a cart in this picture. And this is where information comes in. I would like to say it's a good thing, but sometimes it's a curse, because then you start seeing what's really happening on at least the second or third level down from the corporate media and all the nonsense and bullshit out there that's fed into us, indoctrinated into us, and spoon-fed every evening. So just throwing that in too. We're passing the cinema right now in Paradise, and it's still here. Thank God. We can escape to the cinema once in a while. They'll probably make a movie out of this too, by the way, called Paradise Lost. You wait and see. Just made a right on Elliott. Haven't been down this street yet. Both sides of the street are looking pretty bad. Passing Elliott and Jaguar Court right now. Some people out here checking things out, looking things over. Here's the First Assembly of God Church on Maxwell, across from the cemetery. Once again, the cemetery's doing fine. But the church is pretty much gone, which is a shame. I've mentioned this before. I'm not really what you would call a religious person, but I know being able to congregate and be around fellow believers that can help support, that's really important to a lot of people. Actually, it'd probably be important to me right now if I was a believer. But I got to the point in life where I need to have some validation. And this is the other side of the street, Elliott. Just give you an idea of the work that has to be done here. It's just beyond most people's imagination. We're coming up to McLean, and both sides of the street here looks pretty much gone. And State Farm Insurance is still here. And the St. Thomas More Catholic Church looks like it's okay. Had a lot of blacktop around it, but there's some place in the back there that's not okay. One of the buildings. It looks like the church was okay. And now we're coming up to Skyway and Elliott. I'm just going to pull over here for a second, let some people by. And as you can see, it's pretty much gone. And here's the Valero gas station, where we lost another stand because it must have been too close to the building. Yeah, here we are on Skyway, and this place belongs to Mariana Love and Ray Varlinsky. Love's Vibrant Art. And this is sort of amazing. This is like a little island that did not get burned. Thank goodness. And this is where we're going to, thanks to Ray and Mariana, this is where we're going to open up a little bit of a LotusGuide healing center. And this is some of Mariana's artwork in here. See if I can get you close enough. She's sort of an amazing artist. She didn't even start being an artist till she was in her 40s. And that was after she had had a very successful career. And when she says vibrant, she means vibrant. Yeah, and like I say, with their help, we're going to open this place up and hopefully get some volunteers that would want to come here and pitch in and help us, because it would be nice to have massage, some therapy, counseling, you name it. Someone just emailed me and they want to bring 4 infrared beds up, and 15 minutes in an infrared bed can really detox a lot of the toxins out of the system, and people are really toxic right now. This was next door. This was one of our advertisers, Blazin' Jays, and he still has 2 stores, one in Orville and one in Chico. And you know, a shout out to Blazin' Jays, because after the fire, you know, he still paid us the advertisement, and knowing that we're going to need that, and he knows it also helps the people that have also lost so much, you know. And this is right on the corner of Fur and Skyway, and this is a little bit extraordinarily sad for me, because this is where Ohana Health was. Anne was just a beautiful lady doing beautiful things for the community, and it's just a little bit too much. You know, I can't blame anybody for not wanting to come back and start over. You know, it's the chamber keeps asking me, you know, you're going to stick around? Yes, I'm going to stick around. All of my cards are on the table and I'm all in, because I think there's an opportunity here to build something. Here's one more thing for Ray and Mariana. This has been inspected and lawful occupancy is permitted. So it's only the exterior that was inspected, but the interior is really good too. So that's good to know, Ray and Mariana. And here's one of Mariana's posters. This is when we had her on the front page of the LotusGuide here a while back. Once again, amazing lady. And Ray and Mariana lost their house over on Honey Run, and they're doing okay. You know, this brings me to another little sore point. Is I've known several people, they're in a bidding war down in Chico. One friend of ours, she bought a condo that 2 months ago it was sold for $35,000 less, and she got it from being in a bidding war. And the same way with some other friends of ours, they bought a double wide for almost $50,000 that 2 months ago would have sold for $15,000 or $20,000 less. So I'm not too sure what to say about you people out there that's taking advantage of people that's lost so much. Except what comes around goes around, and vice versa. Right now we're going, getting ready to make a left on Pearson off Skyway. And here's another dot for you, for what it's worth. When I was a kid, I used to hate those stories that started out like that. But when I was a kid, I remember fires, structure fires, and even a few years ago, there were still buildings. I mean, but so many of the fires right now, it's complete ash. We had our one friends, they bought 3 fireproof safes that not only melted, they're just like total ash. They're down to the ground. You can't even tell that it was a safe. And they had their silver in it, and all of their valuables just completely gone. But in this fire, you're not finding too much. I mean, look at this. This is like just scraps of metal sometimes, but sometimes the metal's even gone. Real estate professionals are still here. I guess we just have to keep. I'm going to make a right on Black Olive. I guess we just have to keep talking about this and not getting out of hand or jumping to conclusions, but you know, realizing that there's a lot of dots to connect. Aloha Paradise is gone, and just communicated with Jonathan Arthur, a friend of mine up here. He lost everything, him and Nancy. He still has a saxophone and his good guitar, so we're still going to hear some good music from him eventually when he feels like playing music again. Right here, man, right here at the corner of Foster and Black Olive. I'm just going to keep going down Black Olive and see what it looks like over here. Still continuing down Black Olive. Straighten up my camera so that one guy doesn't complain anymore about me not holding my camera correctly. Can't believe people sometimes. You have to just sort of laugh. I remember Wavy Gravy once said, if you don't laugh about it, it just ain't funny. It's about the truth. I know one of the people on one of the YouTubes, I don't know if he's a troll or what, but he said that, hey, this guy is scamming you. You know, because we do have a GoFundMe site to help subsidize our advertisers, and we're coming back out here on Skyway right now. I'm going to make a right. Subsidize our advertisers, because we're going to keep advertising for the advertisers who lost everything, and we're not going to charge them, but you know, we could use some help doing that. And he said, this guy is scamming you, don't pay him a penny. So I didn't even remove it. I left it there. I told him, I said, dude, if you knew me at all, you would actually be ashamed of saying something like this. But you have a right to your opinion, so I'm going to leave it there. And everybody has a couple of things in life, and opinions are one. But it's just surprising how many people just I've only had 2 bad comments, so you know, one was about the way I hold the camera, and the other one was from this guy. Most of them all of them actually are pretty good, pretty grateful people, and I appreciate that too, because this isn't something I get up for the morning and go, oh great, let's go out and do this. I've been putting this off for a few days, matter of fact. It's not something that I really like doing, but I know it helps a lot of people though. And all of these videos, in case you're not on the website, you can find all of my videos at LotusGuide.com/CampFire, all one word. So I'm putting everything on one page, and you can go there and check it out. There's a lot of people up here. This is just one parking lot. This is over here where Holiday Market is on Skyway in Paradise. PG&E people standing around doing something. And no, they're not plotting and scheming. I think it's sort of funny to see how fast, not funny, I take that back, it's not funny at all, really, but how amazing it is that everyone is so quick to get angry at our government and our corporations right now. And actually, that doesn't, as far as getting mad at our corporations and our government, you can just leave it alone. Like, forget whether it's true or not true, the conspiracy stories and everything else. What I find um, interesting, I guess is a word, is how fast, we're just passing Calico Kitchen right now, how fast everybody is to get so angry at the government. I mean, I don't think I've talked to one person that hasn't been really angry at PG&E and the government. And I think somewhere along the line, we're going to have to come to grips with that. I'm going to pull into what was Beyond Fitness. I see a lot of boxes and stuff over here. How you doing, man? So I report for the LotusGuide magazine. I just seen all the boxes over here. What are they compiling over here? What kind of resources?
This
Yeah.
is the for the electric.
Yeah. Are they going to try to salvage this building, you think?
I don't know.
Don't know. So where are you from?
I'm from Ghana.
Ghana?
Yeah.
All right, man.
Video?
Yeah. Your own video.
Well, you have to go this way.
Okay, I will. Thanks for doing this. And welcome to America. We got somebody here from Ghana. Seemed like a nice kid. I'm just going to stop and let you see. I can't believe they're going to restore this building, but that's good. Because it really looks like it's compromised. A lot of high voltage. I don't think I think he was wrong. I don't think they're saving this for Beyond Fitness. I think this is just a storage facility for PG&E. And well, I bet the outdoor outhouses are really making a lot of money. I see them all over the place. I'm going to pull out of here because I really try not to be in people's way around here because they are trying to do a job. Yeah, this has to be just for PG&E doing their best. Take care. You'll see it going by. There's a big, huge bus up here. I'm just wondering if they're bringing people up to just take a look at things or what. They might be bringing them up, dropping them off in a specific area so they can check out their property. I'm going to make a right on Billy Road right now. See what's happening down this way. The road is completely closed right now going up Skyway because sometimes they have to do that. It's just too much to expect traffic to come through. This is the other side of Billy Road right off of Skyway. Pretty wiped out. And now we're coming up to the walkway where people would normally walk. The street here is Berkshire. And once again, there's a lot of wood up here. I think we need to look into who's going to get this wood. We bought a couple of cords and it's expensive. No kidding about that. Here's some more right off of Billy Road. And we're passing 1182 right now. Took on some heat, but it's still here. So, once again, for all you people who are seeing your house, I am so happy for you. And yeah, sometimes I'm a little bit speechless, to be honest with you. I have to think of something to say because the words, I can't come up with the profoundness that encapsulates what I'm looking at. Sometimes the words I use just seem so frivolous and ridiculously inadequate. I'm making a left right now on Harvey. Going down Harvey right now off of Billy Road. And seeing what this looks like for you. I'm talking a lot more, and I hope it's not too boring for some of you. Before it was all about, more about video, but now it's getting into the story behind all of this. All of these places you're seeing that are in ruins, there's a story behind it. And there's real people. And here's across the street. Here's a little house that's still here. All their cars. That's good. Not so good for most of the neighbors, though. And once again, another trash can. Trash cans are fine. Across the street, trash cans are fine. And the trash cans are standing in the midst of rubble. I mean, burned out ashes. I don't know. I'm not a fire expert, but it's been my experience that plastic burns. There's some more. And you can see them right here. They're all over the place. And across the street, right in the middle of ashes. And passing 6345. I forget the name of the street. Harvey, I think. Right off of Billy Road. There's some more trash cans. I'll stop harping on it because I don't understand it, but you get the point. Just another one of those curious dots. And right over there, there's a plastic insert that was around somebody's bathroom. I don't know if you can see it or not. It's right over there between the... Back up a little bit. It's over there. Yeah, you can see it. And it's completely standing. I mean, how does the whole house burn down around a plastic insert for a shower? Trash cans all over the place. You're going to get tired of me saying trash cans, I know, but now we're passing Snowflake. And I'm just going to pull over here for a second. Right now I'm on the corner of Wagstaff and Harvey. I'm going to make a right. And as you can see, almost everything's gone. And I'll say it one more time, except for the trash cans. Almost every person we know in paradise, except for a couple of people, they all lost everything. We're passing Sherwood Forest Mobile Estates. It's gone. It's on the other side of the road right now. And I hope you people looking at this that live in other areas can understand the magnitude of what's happened here. I'm going to make a left on some street. I don't know what it is. Just to give you an idea that it's not just the streets I'm going down, it's every single street and off street and dead end and alley. Everything is just rubble, ashes, except for the trash cans. Here's AT&T. This has to be and here's another dot. You know, I know I keep putting these dots out there, but do you all know that PG&E went to our Congress and made them pass a bill by threatening them, made them pass a bill to where they're actually not responsible for any of this? That's interesting. I wish I could do business like this. No, I don't either. But imagine if you could do business, make billions of dollars. You're owned by one of the richest families on the planet, and if you mess up, you don't have to pay for anything. I mean, but I'm passing Deer Lane right now, and I can't see the other sign because it's gone. And I don't mean to get on PG&E unnecessarily, but because I have to keep reminding you, the people working on the ground with their boots actually on the ground, they're really nice people, and they're just doing their job, and doing a job that is, quite frankly, overwhelming to look at, let alone start dealing with. There's a house left. I'm going to start showing the houses that are left now because people are starting to come back. I was trying not to do that so much before. And here's the other side of the street here. This is what I mean. I mean, see right here, there's a swing set, slide, kids, monkey bars, and this is a whole story in itself. Coming up to Barton Road. It'll help these people out. House cleaning, 966-23001. For the people that still have houses. And here's the other side of the road. And I'm sorry, I gotta do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Trash cans all over the place, not touched. And everything else around it is burned to the ground. I mean, I'm not saying it's some big conspiracy deal. I'm just saying it is a mystery to me, anyway. I know people are talking about how the trees didn't burn, but a lot of trees did burn. But I don't think it's enough to call it a forest fire, because the forest is still here. Once again, just something's going on here that doesn't make sense to actually anyone that has 5 or 6 brain cells still firing. This doesn't make sense. I'm going to have to get out and move a pine cone. Matter of fact, I just talked to somebody. He's from a different state. I'm getting ready to turn on Skyway. Actually, let me make a right. I'm going to head back towards Magalia now. And this guy, he's from a different state. He said there's a lot of people here from different states. So he couldn't even hardly, matter of fact, he didn't speak English. I had to speak to him in a little bit of Spanish that I know. He said a lot of them have come here from different states, and they're just here to help, getting paid minimal. And he said, I think the word he used meant overwhelming. And I can sure understand that. Okay, we're going up Skyway right now, passing the Heritage Paradise sign. There's not much left of it. And I hope this is okay with everybody, because I know watching YouTube, somebody driving along, rambling on, can be a little bit boring sometimes, but this means a lot to a lot of people. Heading up Skyway towards Magalia, we just passed I Positive. I'm so glad that place is there. Every time I go by there, there's like a gang of kids in there just having a time of their life. Swinging and playing and just being with their parents. And it's good that it's still there because it's going to be needed more than ever. That's I Positive on Skyway. Just passing Lofty and some kind of a big, huge, monstrous truck here. I'll let you see it a little bit. And, I think what they help out with the grabbing hold of the sections of trees as they cut them down, because you can't just cut down a big, huge tree and let it fall like they do in the movies. They take it down a piece at a time. Yeah, we're coming up to Clark Road and Skyway. Got to see if this guy can move a cone. Well, better than most. That seems to be my response nowadays. Better than most.
Man, have a good one, all right, brother?
Yep, will do. We're passing Finn's Fur and Feathers Sports, still here. And fortunately, this little mall, Lynn's Coffee and Crepes, they're going to do a good business when they finally get open, because everything else is gone except Jackie's Restaurant, which thank goodness is still here in Magalia. They just went through one fire. It took them a year or so to get all the insurance companies together and construction people and get it back going again. Not so fortunate for the Depot Restaurant. Much love to you, John, and your family. His family lost their family home. He spent all this time. He spent 7 years getting the Depot Restaurant to the point to where it would be a restaurant years ago. And that was hard to do because, and here's another weird thing too, the inspectors, they won't inspect on rainy days, and they have this weird kind of a scheduling, and sometimes the construction has to wait and wait and wait for the inspector to come out. And then they finally come out and inspect it, and then you have to fix some things, then they have to come out and inspect it again. This went on for 7 years for John with the Depot Restaurant. Finally gets it up, runs it for a few years, then it catches on fire about a year and a half ago. Spent a year and a half getting it back up and going. And John is an excellent, he used to work for Wolfgang Puck, I hear, down in LA. Excellent chef, really nice guy. His family was totally behind the restaurant. And then it burns to the ground, and his family's home burned to the ground. I mean, I can't imagine what he's going through right now, but if you're watching this, John, we love you, man, and many, many, many good memories at your restaurant, for which we'll always be grateful. I was just talking to John from the Depot Restaurant, and we're going to do an interview later, but he was telling me about the complexity and the ripple effect of everything that's happening up here, because he had insurance, but the insurance was way underinsured for what he had just put into the restaurant, and hadn't even had time to take photographs and pictures of all the improvements. And now the insurance company is saying, well, that doesn't count because you can't prove it. But the other thing too is if he does rebuild, it's going to take at least a year, year and a half to rebuild. But what do you do when you have a business that depends upon people and everybody that you know of lost everything? And it's going to be so tough for a lot of people coming back up here, and I think a lot tougher than what anybody really wants to admit to right now. And he brought up something else too, and I've heard this from several people. I mean, the amount of deaths. There were whole groups of people that seemed to have disappeared, and they're still down as just missing. But I think there's a lot more deaths than anybody wants to think about right now. Sitting here in the parking lot of the depot where we've had many, many good meals and really good times. I hope he does rebuild, but it's going to be tough. We're going to have to really be supportive of the businesses that come back here and stick it out. The LotusGuide being one. It's not going to be easy to open up a center in the middle of a burned out town and really make things continue to work. But we feel like we have to, because if we can do that and attract other businesses up, it's a matter of having confidence and the fortitude to handle all this. Because a lot of elderly people, I know quite a few that have maybe 10 years left on their life. I'm not too sure they're going to want to come back up here and spend 5 years living in a construction zone just for things to get back to a level to where it's tolerable. I think if I was any older than I am now, it would be a tough decision. I would be, I don't know, I'm a stick it out kind of a person, but I can see where a lot of people would just say, hey, you know what, life's too short, I've had enough, and I'm on my way. I really appreciate you listening, and again, I hope I haven't been too boring. And just to do a little recap on the conspiracy angle, I hear all of you. Believe me, I hear all of you. Personally, I think we lost our country when that bullet went into JFK's head. I think that was a coup that happened so good and so slick. Over 70% of the people that's questioned at this point totally doesn't believe the ongoing story that it was a lone gunman. I mean, it's just ridiculous at this point to even consider that, with all the Secret Service that spoke out, the CIA that spoke out, and the CIA probably had something to do with it. There's too much. And if that's true, then there were huge parts of our government agencies that were in on it. I mean, it just doesn't happen without some complicity on some level. You just have to research it and see. And then you get into 9/11. Those buildings fell in free fall. I don't care who you are. That just doesn't happen without demolition involved. And there's over 2,000 architects and engineers that's testifying to this is not how it happened. The story that we're being given is impossible. Then you have Building 7. There's a documentary called Incontrovertible. And it's from the police and firemen at that time in New York, and it's specifically to other police and other firemen saying, hey, wake up, because this building was pulled. I mean, it was even reported pulled 20 minutes before it actually came down. So it's obvious that it was scheduled to be pulled. The government now admits that it did go into free fall, not realizing that by admitting that, they're admitting that it was pulled. If it was pulled, they're admitting that it takes 3 to 7 days minimum to pull a building like Building 7, let alone the towers. That means that, I don't know, were they in on it? We have to start asking some tough questions here, because we've lost a lot of soldiers in these wars. And I know I didn't go to Vietnam because I was married, had a kid, gone to college, but I'm not too sure I would have went after I started realizing that we're over there in a country, and we started the whole war based on the Gulf of Tonkin, which either never happened or was completely distorted. You have World War I, you know. We started that whole war because some guy was killed, and he's supposed to be really important to some family. And in World War II, Pearl Harbor, we knew that Pearl Harbor was coming for a couple of weeks before. And it just goes on and on. Weapons of mass destruction. I seen a thing with George Bush Jr., the baby Bush. You know, he's at a dinner and he's laughing. Where are the weapons of mass destruction? You know, it's like a joke to these people. And now here we are. We're still in endless wars. It's curious that the wars we are in are the ones that aren't really buying into the Federal Reserve System, the IMF, the World Bank, banking settlements, and all that. That can't be another coincidence. So, as you can see, I have nothing against conspiracies, and I do have something against just spreading rumors and theories that haven't been thoroughly looked at. And there's plenty here to look at, but I think the main thing to look at right now is families, people, kids, and getting everybody comfortable again as possible. So I just wanted to say that, and I'll be putting this up today. Thank you again for listening, and again, check out our website at www.LotusGuide.com and /CampFire if you want to see all these videos. And obviously, we can, if you've ever been thinking about advertising, this would be a good time to do it, because we lost a bunch of our advertisers, and we want to keep advertising for free for them, so we can use all the help we can get. That's it for today.